Hi, this is Miss De La Torre, and welcome to Science, Technology, and Society. In this lesson, we're going to talk about the selected indigenous science and technology here in the Philippines. Furthermore, aside from differentiating the two concepts, we are also going to talk about some of the different indigenous science and technology inventions here in the Philippines. So let's talk about indigenous science and indigenous technology. If we're going to check how do they differ with one another, before we differentiate the two, it's better for us to check first what is indigenous knowledge. When we say indigenous knowledge, this includes superstitious beliefs and practices which may be product of human imagination. Again, indigenous knowledge includes superstitious belief o yung mga pinaniniwalaan nating haka-haka that usually is, okay, a product of human imagination or it can be based through one's own experience through time. Okay? And again, always remember, hindi porket knowledge dapat laging scientific. Kapag ka knowledge, dapat laging something that is factual. Okay? There could be some knowledge that can be obtained in line with our tradition, with our culture, and even with superstition. So kapag sinabi nating indigenous science, it involves the use of science process skills that is again guided by community culture and values that is composed of traditional or indigenous knowledge. Again, indigenous science involves the use of what? The use of process skills that is guided by the community culture and values. Ibig sabihin, nakakaapekto ang kultura at ang values ng isang community when it comes to the indigenous science that is present within that specific area. Okay? And most of the time, it is rooted from their indigenous knowledge. Again, sabi nga dito sa slide natin, it is a product of indigenous knowledge that is perfected by people through life experiences. Kaya it is being passed on from one generation to another kasi it is being practiced by the previous generation. So, if we're going to further check what are the other values or what are the other features of indigenous knowledge, so we can see here that indigenous knowledge is embedded in the cultural traditions of a specific community, and that can be seen where sa kanilang regional, indigenous, and local communities. And again, katulad ng sinabi natin, dahil tradition is also part of this, most of the time, okay, or sometimes rather, this indigenous science and indigenous knowledge can also be forwarded through the next generation through what? Through the forms of stories, poems, and songs. Okay? Note that this type of knowledge may again include superstitious belief that is can be drawn from human imagination. Ano naman yung indigenous technology? Again, going back to our old, very first lesson, di ba? Sabi natin, science is a systematic body of knowledge, whereas technology is simply the application of science. So, indigenous technology naman, it is or it involves processes or products which are result of studying indigenous science. So if we apply, okay, indigenous science, those beliefs, okay, and produce a process or a concept, okay, or a product out of it, then that is indigenous technology. It is designed and fabricated based on what? The culture, tradition, and the needs of people, and at the same time, it is adopted for the use in the environment of those people. So again, dahil nga indigenous, ibig sabihin, di ba pag sinabi natin indigenous, locally made, right? Original sa isang area, native sa isang area. Okay? So the environment of the people having those indigenous science and indigenous technology also plays a role into the identity of those indigenous knowledge. Okay? Indigenous science and technology. Okay. And let's now try to look at the different indigenous science and technologies that has been developed in the early times. Okay. Let's start with the following. Okay. So, if you're going to notice in this slide, ano ba nakikita natin? May mga iba't ibang animals. Okay? It is one known indigenous science is our what? Our prediction of weather condition based on animal behavior. If you're going to analyze it, there's no scientific 100% scientific basis naman, no, whether that is correct, whether it is true that when the what do you call this one, when sa case kasi ito ng ibang lugar, no? So, let's say for example, sabi nila sa ibang lugar where squirrels are existing, when squirrels starts to create nest in higher areas or places, ibig sabihin daw nun, winter is coming. Okay? Kapag ka naman yung mga cows, they lay in that specific area, ibig sabihin that area in a short while will already experience rain. Okay? Yung sa case naman ng ating frog, it's also related with weather condition as well. Kapag mas lumalakas na yung tunog na pinuproduce nila, most probably rain is coming. Meron din yung mga migration ng birds, 'di ba? It is believed that when birds migrate from one area to another, most probably season is changing. Okay? And then sa case naman ng chicken, sabi nila, if chicken walks in the rain, most probably the rain will stop. Though I haven't seen a chicken walk at the middle of the rain and it suddenly stopped, no? Pero that's one belief that is actually applied here in the Philippines. Ang pinaka-common siguro, mas familiar kayo is yung moth, 'di ba? Moth flies where? In the night, specifically, kapag sila ay drawn sa ilaw, anong nangyayari? Kinabukasan, uulan. Yun yung ilan sa mga indigenous science na meron tayo dito sa Pilipinas. And if you're going to again check it, there's no scientific basis on those or in this particular cases, no? Puwedeng coincidence lang siya na na-associate ng mga ah, ninuno natin, okay, with weather condition, and then it has been forwarded to us kasi nga it has become part of our tradition. Now, if we are going to cite some additional indigenous science as well here in the Philippines, ito, pinaka makikita natin yan, no, or trademark yung ilan dito. Saan? Sa Pilipinas. Halimbawa na po dyan yung paggamit ng herbal medicine and traditional practices when it comes to treating certain illnesses. Okay, actually, it has been known that years before the arrival of the Spaniards here in the Philippines, yung paggamit ng medicinal plant, common na yan. Common na yan sa mga Pilipino. And a lot of those records has been compiled already proving that we make use of different herbs already during the early days. Pero if you're going to move forward, okay, the Department of Health actually nowadays, okay, in early day or present day, was able to approve 10 medicinal plants here in the Philippines to be used for prevention and treatment of certain diseases. Ibig sabihin, okay. Pwedeng nung umpisa, nagsimula lang siya saan? Sa paggamit, no, ng ating mga ninuno. Pero, yung iba pala na mga practices natin na walang basihan scientifically, noong una, can have like a scientific explanation behind it and be proven only later on. Okay? That's possible. Like sa case nga po ng ating medicinal plants. So some examples of medicinal plants that are proven and approved by DOH to have medicinal importance are garlic, bitter melon, sambong, guava, and so on and so forth. Okay, most likely oregano is also included in that one, 'di ba? It's known to be used in treating cough and colds, right? So, maliban sa Philippine herbs or sa medicinal plants, Philippines is also known for circumcision. Okay? Of course, saan ba yan applicable sa mga lalaki? Okay? Or I think it's better to say na sa mga nagbibinata na or those that are approaching their puberty stage, no? Um Technically there's nothing wrong with being circumcised nor being uncircumcised. Kasi if you're going to look at it, other countries do not practice the same circumcision that Filipino boys or Filipino teens, specifically, yun nga po, yung mga teenagers, okay, na lalaki, experiences. Okay, there's no scientific basis naman whether that's going to have a health implication, but that has been one part of our culture and tradition as well. Another example is actually what the knowledge on food preservation. We are what they call this one. We are quite familiar with achara, with tinapa, 'di ba? Ano pa ba? With buro. So ano yung mga ginagamit doon? With buro we're using salt, 'di ba? Um and then with achara we're using what? Vinegar, that's acetic acid. And with tinapa or with daing, what do? We smoke the fish and we let it dry under the sun. So why do we do that? Okay, why do we do such thing? Actually, those again are part of our tradition. But later on, if you're going to look at it, the reason why it seems to be effective in preserving or lengthening the shelf life of food is because what? Those methods are capable of killing the microbes, the bacteria, the viruses, the fungi, the protozoans that could most likely contaminate this food, okay, leading to its spoilage. By removing moisture, you are trying to lessen the possibility of bacteria to thrive and fungi to thrive into those food. So that's like, the scientific explanation why subjecting our food through those methods preserve them or lengthen their shelf life. Okay, another like prominent, what do you call this one, or another thing about indigenous practices here in the Philippines is actually their ability to classify soil for planting, and they actually do not use any fancy machines to identify it, sinasalat lang nila ng gamit ng palad or ng kamay nila yung lupa, and they are able to identify already what type of soil it is, and what type of crop are better to be planted into those kind of soil. So this particular ability of Filipino farmers to classify yung soil natin, it's obviously in relation with what? With their experience. Okay, yung galing nila sa pagsasalat ng lupa, and for them to right there and then identify what type of soil is that without using any other machines or equipment is because they've done it and tested it through time. Okay, so experience again is also one way of enriching our indigenous science and technology. Winemaking is also another example of what? Another example of indigenous science and technology here in the Philippines as well. Okay, and if also you're going to like try to recall others, ano pa ba yung mga pwede nating example na indigenous science or indigenous technology? Actually, yung concept of hilot and pagtatawas, 'di ba? Pag sa tawas, ano yung ginagamit natin doon? Potassium alum. We are what? Pag hilot, it is as if you are curing or treating sprains and fractures, 'di ba? That's our practice. And so far naman kapag ka hinihilot after a while, 'di ba? Kung meron ka nga talagang bali, ano nangyayari sa atin? Gumagaan yung pakiramdam natin. We feel better afterwards. Sa tawas naman, it is known to determine what the cause and nature of sudden illnesses. So, again, up until today, I believe there's no scientific explanation behind it, but there's nothing wrong with following or believing in it, right? So again, that's part of our culture. Whenever we try to explain things that we cannot comprehend or understand, of course our imagination will be maybe quite wild or may gone quite wild, but again, at the end of the day, some of them maybe coincidences, but some of them are also scientifically proven later in life. So, at this point, let's now talk about some of the prominent indigenous technology inventor and scientists here in the Philippines. Let's start in the field of um, medicine. So, we have Dr. Abelardo Aguilar, and he is, again, here in the Philippines, we acknowledge him to be the what do you call this one? The discoverer, okay, of the organism, okay, that is responsible for the synthesis or production of erythromycin. And erythromycin is a potent antibiotic. Okay? Bago pa yung penicillin, erythromycin has been used. Okay? And then afterwards, dumating na rin yung production of other types of antibiotics in the form of amoxicillin and others. So, erythromycin is a very very potent antibiotic. Commonly, it is used to treat certain types of illnesses such as that of the skin and even upper respiratory tract. And just a quick background lang, no, or like backstory of how Dr. Aguilar discovered it. In 1949, he actually collected soil samples in his backyard back in Iloilo, and there um he's hoping to isolate microorganism. And because during that time the Philippines doesn't have like an equipment yet, okay, the Philippines doesn't have the resources yet to identify possible isolates within the soil sample of Dr. Aguilar. He tried to send those soil sample into his employer in the United States. Okay, and he's actually working for a pharmaceutical company during that time. But upon double checking, okay, what happened is he was advised that there's nothing special with the soil sample he has sent. And later on later on, what happened is actually the company suddenly released a new antibiotic. And again, the term is that they use, actually, I believe, before erythromycin there is a term, or the name, a name has been given to that antibiotic, until later on it has been tagged as erythromycin. Then afterwards, Dr. Aguilar has been fired from the company. And it has been a very long battle, because Dr. Aguilar believed that he is the one who has a major contribution into the the synthesis of erythromycin, because without his soil sample, the microorganism responsible for the production of erythromycin will not uh, be possible to be within the hands of his pharmaceutical company employer. But again, until he died, he actually wasn't acknowledged and honored. No royalty or financial honorarium has been given to him. So that's very, very sad. If I'm not mistaken, a certain senator here in the Philippines tried to communicate with the company, but still they insist on keeping erythromycin under solely their name. So, but nonetheless, um, even if that happens, and again, this is not just an isolated case, no, for Dr. Aguilar. This also may have happened already with other inventors, other discoverers, but unfortunately, they are not properly credited. So, at least through our lesson, or through our course, we get to acknowledge and give proper recognition to Dr. Aguilar and his prominent contribution, okay, in the field of medicine, that is erythromycin discovery. Next is Dr. Fidel Mundo, and she is known to be the very first female Asian to enter the Harvard School of Medicine, because her specialty is in pediatrics. Obviously, no, that's the reason why, if you're going to look at it, she's credited to have contributed the idea of creating a medical incubator. She didn't created the medical incubator that we have as of today, but the concept, the principle, the idea behind it actually came from her, because she come up with this makeshift um, incubator, which is actually made up of laundry baskets that are placed inside one another, and that has what do you call this one? That includes blankets with that. If I'm not mistaken, the blanket within it is um wet with hot water so that it can regulate the temperature and provide warmth for prematurely delivered babies. Kasi 'di ba yun naman yung common use of medical incubator. This is specifically created for prematurely delivered babies, because the incubator somehow aims to mimic the environment within the mother's womb, because the baby either like has been delivered early than due date or overdue. Okay, so again, that's Dr. Fedel Mundo for the medical incubator. Now let's proceed with uh, um, another personality that we can associate with the field of medicine, and that is none other than Rolando de la Cruz. He's actually the one known for the anti-cancer cream and I'm sorry, mole remover. Okay, so this is Dr. Rolando de la Cruz. I don't know if you're seeing my cursor right now, but actually, Dr. Rolando de la Cruz won the gold medal for creating this anti-cancer cream in the prestigious International Inventors Forum in November of 2005, and the cream is actually called DBCC. Okay, because again, it removes mole. Okay, and at the same time, it is used as well to what they call this one, to fight off skin cancer. Pero again, limited lang yung mga pwede nating paggamitan nito. Depende yon sa degree, 'di ba? Kasi may mga stages yung cancer, right? So depende sa degree. Okay, if it's manageable using topical treatments like that of anti-cancer cream, then this is the go-to treatment for that one. And if you're going to look at it, meron mga katabing picture si Rolando de la Cruz dito. Ano yung mga yan? Those are cashew, right? Kasi itong anti-cancer cream and mole remover ni Rolando de la Cruz actually they contain local herbs and cashew nuts. Cashew nuts kasi are known to have this ability to produce heat that is aiding in the removal of mole. Okay? So that's it for Rolando de la Cruz. Other than mole, he also created like what do you call this one? He also created cream to remove warts as well. Okay? So let's now move into the field of food technology. So in this case, we have Roberta David, and if you're going to look at it, ano yung meron sa kanya? It's fish sauce. So the concept of fish sauce or patis actually has been discovered through serendipity by what? By Roberta David. Actually, she's known to be called as Aling Tentay. Kaya ang nakikita nyong label dyan is Tentay's special patties. Okay? Kasi one day, what happened is that she's living in an area that has an access to large amount of fishes. So what she did is she stored one day yung mga fishes na yon in a jar, and she added salt. So technically, kumaga inasinan na isda ang dating. Pero ang nangyari, she forgot na meron pala siyang parang binuburong isda doon sa jar niya. Until such time na nung nabalikan niya na yun, nung naalala niya na, she checked that the jars um, contains fish that has fragments turned into something like that of the patis the modern patty's consistency. And when she tried if it's possible to be used as a condiment, it tastes good. So that's how fish sauce was discovered by Roberta David. Okay? Another distinct personality in the field of food technology is actually Maria Orosa E. Elagan. Okay? And obviously she's the one behind banana ketchup. If you're going to look at it, banana ketchup is what? Sa Pilipinas lang siya madalas nakikita. Kung kayo ay nakakapunta na sa ibang bansa, you won't be able to see commonly banana ketchup within the counters of their groceries. Why? So, actually, yung sa banana ketchup, it has something to do with Maria Orosa Ilagan's ingenuity. Kasi she's a very, what do you call this one? She's a very decorated, um, I should say, personality in the field of food technology na buhay kasi siya during the time where war is prevalent. Pero that time, she's like already a graduate of food technology. Marami siyang tinapos na related sa food technology, no? But, um, what she did, kasi during that time, dun sa area nila, I think sa Batangas, no? Masyadong maraming saging banana. Okay? And nasasayang lang kasi wala namang masyadong kumakain. Kumbaga, ang daming supply, low lang yung demand. So, what she did is she tried to experiment on the available products of or available banana and then created that banana ketchup. But the first batches actually, hindi pa siya color red. Okay? Um, Actually, yung kulay niya can be compared to that of stool. So it's not appetizing in the eye, right? So dahil nga ganun, pero it tastes great. So what she did is she incorporated food coloring. Okay, para magmukha siyang color ng ketchup, which is ano bang basehan ng ketchup during that time? Yung sa tomato ketchup, which is red. So she added food coloring so that the banana ketchup will look like the red common type of ketchup. And that clicked. Okay, other than banana ketchup, the other things that she has like invented and created are calamansi nip. This is actually powdered form of calamansi that is used to make calamansi juice. And meron din tayong product na tinatawag na soya lac. So kay Maria Orosa rin yun. Soya lac is actually a powdered version of soya beans. And ito ay ginagamit, no? That her main goal during this time, why she created this is para magkaroon ng kumbaga source of food na handy, lalong-lalo na yung mga Filipino and American soldiers that has been imprisoned during the World War II. Kasi tumutulong din siya doon sa mga soldiers, lalong-lalo na ng mga Filipinos during the World War II. And unfortunately, it's also because of the war that she died. Okay? But still, parang, if I'm not mistaken, within her last few minutes, seconds in life, she is still helping others. So that's for Maria Orosa Ilagan and the banana ketchup. Okay? Now, second to the last is Pedro Flores. And as you may notice, ano yung meron sa kanya? Yung yo-yo. Okay? Though maraming nagki-claim that yo-yo originated from their area or their country, like for example Chinese or China in general claimed based on their history as well. There are some documents stating that like a structure like that of a yo-yo has been utilized during the early days in China. Meron din sa Greece, no, na yung mga fossils or like artifacts from unearthed artifacts like jars contain illustrations depicting something related or that resembles a yo-yo as well. But here in the Philippines, if we are to check, okay, nung unang panahon din, Filipinos are known to use like different tools. Alam natin yan, napag-usapan natin yan sa historical antecedent, right? Kung paano nag-evolve yung civilization together with the evolution of science and technology. Pero sa case po ng Pilipinas, there has been some documents, okay, if I'm not mistaken, that shows early Filipinos try to combat enemies, protect themselves by using like big rocks that is what do you call this one, that is like kumbaga pinaiikutan hindi na alam yung English, pinaiikutan or pinalilibutan, okay, ng rope, then binabato nila dun sa kanilang kalaban na parang if you're going to look at it, it looks like yo-yo, right? Parang meron tayong yo-yo kasi it's made up of what? Of wood, right? Of a wooden disc that has like um an axle in between at the center, and then it has a string looped within that axle, right? Tapos nire-release natin siya pag nilalaro. Syempre nakapaglaro na ako niyan dati, no? Um that's like how the early Filipinos did it with yun nga, yung malaking rock, nilulup nila doon yung rope, and then they try to throw it doon sa potential intruder. And it's like, you know, that's one thing that has been cited by some to be like where the concept of yo-yo came from. But ano bang kinalaman ni Pedro Flores? Si Pedro Flores ay isang um based on what I know, he studied abroad for law, but unfortunately he didn't like finished getting into law school. And at some point he worked as an attendant in a hotel in the US. That is where his love for yo-yo start to emerge because um right during that time he already got like a yo-yo within him. Okay? But what he did, and what I am quite sure of, is that he is the one responsible for making yo-yo a craze, kumbaga. For making yo-yo a fad, especially in the US or in other countries. Okay? Siya yung responsible sa pag-introduce ng yo-yo as something that we can use for recreation. Kaya almost everyone at some point tried to get a hold of a yo-yo for themselves to play. Okay? Doon natin most likely ma-accredit si Pedro Flores for introducing yo-yo into a different place, into a different country. Pero later on kasi, 'di ba nga sabi ko nga sa inyo, umano siya, sumikat. Kasi he is trying to entertain yung mga guests sa hotel through his yo-yo tricks and all, until yun na nga halos everyone wants to have uh wants to play yo-yo as well. But based on what I've read as well, I just forgot the name of that person, of that American person, businessman, who invested into Pedro Flores's yo-yo, and then eventually like um create a business out of it, and created a name for himself in the field of yo-yo manufacturing. So, yung Pedro Flores yo-yo, eventually nag-iba na yung pangalan. Tapos nag-iba-iba na yung version. Meron ng gawa sa plastic, meron ng gawa sa iba't ibang designs and all. So, that's when yo-yo further got into the mass, kumbaga. But again, what one major thing, or one major personality that allowed yo-yo to be in the mainstream is Pedro Flores. Last but not the least is Diosdado Banatao. He's actually called as Dado. His nickname is Dado. And nakikita nyo dyan nakalagay yung 16-bit microchip. So what's with Diosdado Banatao? Actually, let's first try to check what is a microchip. So si microchip kasi class, this 16-bit microchip created and invented by Diosdado Banatao is the very first single chip graphical user interface accelerator na capable of allowing computers to work faster. Okay? And other than that, this microchip is capable of what? Allowing computer users to use graphics for commands instead of yung typical lang na type commands na ginagamit sa mga older computers. And obviously this has become part of some of the computers been that has reached everyone, no? Until dumating yung point na medyo na improve na siya into different versions. But nonetheless, the very first one who created and invented it is none other than Diosdado Banata, which is a Filipino, and actually he's tagged to be the Philippine Bill Gates because if I'm not mistaken, he had an experience. Okay, he has been employed in Silicon Valley. I'm not quite sure though. Just correct me if I'm wrong. But his experience in the field of IT is very intensive. I'm sorry, extensive, and he's known to create and establish lots of startups in the field of IT here in the Philippines. Okay, and there you have it, the list of our different indigenous science and technology here in the Philippines. And at the same time, the Filipinos, the Filipinas, and the brains behind each one of them. I hope you learned something new today and get to be more proud of our Filipino heritage and with our original native products as well. This is Miss Torre. I hope you have a great day. Thank you, everyone. Bye.